Hi everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Magda Griffiths and I'm a Senior Product Manager. I've been working in product management for the last 15 years, crafting cross-platform digital experiences. I've worked for the likes of 9MSN, News Corp, Federal Publishing. I've run a number of product management courses through General Assembly, and now for the last 5 years, I've been working at eBay Classifieds Group within Gumtree, Australia. I studied design, then marketing, and early in my career, I started out as a graphic designer. I created websites in the early 2000s, before UX was really a thing. I moved into various marketing roles before finding my feet in product. And what I love most about product management is it's a diverse role which solves problems. For those that may not know what product management is, it's the intersection of customer experience, business functions, and technology. In my role, I'm responsible for balancing the business's long-term strategy with short-term wins, and to ensure products and features we deliver are usable and desirable to the customer, feasible to build by the technology team, and viable for the business. Now, I'm often asked how user experience professionals and product managers fit and what role they have in business. Both are closely connected to the product, and in some parts, the product development process, they do indeed overlap. But here are the differences. Broadly speaking, product managers and user experience professionals, we both use the human-centered design approach to problem solving, which is a process that starts with people and ends with solutions. But in a nutshell, user experience professionals focus on designing the end-to-end, while the product managers, they're responsible for setting the vision and strategy, managing the communications between the various stakeholders, and we also own the roadmap. In this presentation, I'll share how you can foster change within a business and balance both customer needs to develop results for your business. At its core, I'll provide some frameworks of how you can influence people and processes to deliver value. Now, to inspire change within an organization and within various teams, the human-centered and design thinking approach can be used. Now, this shouldn't be too unfamiliar to you, but this may not be the solution, but it is a good starting point because it allows you to empathize and view the world through a person or a team's eyes. And it can uncover pain points, perceptions, feelings, and help us understand why certain things are carried out a certain way. It also helps build rapport within the team. If you're a UX professional, you're already doing this. However, instead of seeking customer feedback, applying the human-centered approach, you're getting the team feedback or an individual employee's feedback to validate various assumptions or problems you may have observed. And in my experience, a number of change agents generally come together. So it's not just one person working as a lone soldier. Generally, if you're trying to instill change quite broadly within an organization, these change agents come together and they're identified by a leadership team, and they have the ability to mobilize people around them, rally around the company values and purpose, and they create momentum through action and help scale and sustain change. They can come from the inside or outside of an organization to transform how it operates. Now, if a number of change agents have been identified, you should be working together as a group to align on your assumptions and questions that you want to ask your teams and colleagues. You want to begin by building empathy, and keep in mind that to bring about change, it is a group effort, and there also has to be support from the leadership team. Now, you may be familiar with the double diamond. For those who may not know, the double diamond model is a design process consisting of two overarching stages. Now, the first diamond focuses on the problem and understanding the why, while the second diamond looks for a solution. Each half of a diamond covers a step. So there are 4 steps, and those steps are discovery, definition, development, and delivery. Both diamonds have divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking is to go wild, go wide as well with your ideas, challenge assumptions. This should be done with a group or with teams, and there should be no constraints. An open discussion about what the key problems are. And a good way to kickstart the lateral thinking is to ask what questions. Now, an example of a what question could be, what action is needed to change to make you feel X, Y, Z? Or what would great look like? And so on. Convergent thinking represents the opposite. It's about choosing the best ideas and focusing on the most promising solutions. So remembering that there are 4 quadrants in the double diamond. In this first step, when we do the discovery, we carry out the qualitative research by speaking to people. The second is to narrow and synthesize the discoveries of the problem to draw insight. This is the define step. We define the problem as a problem statement from a product perspective, but do it as a problem statement from a team's perspective. Now, the second diamond puts a spotlight on the solution. And this is where in the UX world, it's a sketch or a prototype. But here, rather than a sketch or a prototype, it might be a way of working, a change in a process. Again, you can go wide and explore potential solutions. Use the hypotheses to guide the ideation process. To synthesize problems and ideas, the framework I like to use is the Affinity Diagram. This tool helps organize data and ideas into groups and themes of similar items. And again, this should be a group effort. It really just emphasizes that it's not one person trying to bring this change, but by bringing people along on that journey, you also get their buy-in. So we can take these ideas or themes, we learn, iterate, and repeat until we go to the last quadrant. That's when we hope we get it right, and that's the delivery side. So, bring it into your team. By this point, you should have found the right solution to the problem you're trying to solve. And to the deliver step of the double diamond is where the final idea is taken to the team's rituals or a particular expectation of how the team should work. Now, something to note is that your first solution may and likely won't be your final. Now, this is a continuous and iterative process. A solution may create problems, and problems will change as the team changes and evolves. A new person starts, that changes the dynamics of the team. It can bring a new set of challenges. So the idea is to actually continuously have a foundation, but continuously add and finesse. Just like you do in your workplace with any feature that you're working on, right? And this is the lean process to product development. Now, lean is essentially, it's the premise that you can put ideas forward to a team. So generally this could be an MVP of some sort, but this could be an idea or way of working that you want to try. It's almost like try before you buy. You agree with the team how long you want to give something a try and assess it. This can be, you can assess it through a team's retrospective if you're working in an agile environment that uses Scrum, or you can set up a separate meeting to see, did this work, didn't it? Do we continue? If we do, is there how can we improve it? So, you're unlikely to nail it the first time around, but that can actually work in your favor because it brings people on that journey. It brings member input and allows for for variations in the idea, which is likely to get some esteem, and then it becomes a problem of the team to solve. So you're not on your own. Continuous improvement, seek incremental improvement over time. When we talk about lean, we ultimately mean 3 key steps. That is to build, measure, and learn. To bring about better ways of working with product and development teams, you can also apply these steps. Here's how. Rather than building a product or an MVP, you implement a way of working. It might be an idea for the change agents that is agreed upon on that particular trial, say for 4 weeks. Right? Then you measure the team's reactions, get that feedback, observe the behaviors, learn from this, and use what you've learned to build something better, or as part of that change process, make it better. Seek feedback to understand how you can further optimize. Keep in mind, though, that while positive feedback is great, it's the negative feedback that has the potential to provide valuable insights for change. Now, learning is from getting the data and feedback from your teammates, from the broader group, and iterate. Repeat this process until you get it right. You will find a sweet spot for ways of working within teams. If not, it's back to the drawing board. And this is going to be a long process. I've been with various organizations for many years, and it takes time for individuals and groups of people to adapt to various ways of changing. And actually, right now, with COVID and working from home, that has been one of the biggest changes we have seen. And particularly for new starters, they don't have the same relationships and same maybe the same backbones to go in and do things. So how do we empower them to feel like they can make a change or make certain improvements? So, each team will have a preference on how they work, especially if you're working with tribes or pods or whatever your organization calls it. And this also, the dynamics and the backgrounds of different people will also will vary. So with these frameworks, which I'm showing you, they will not necessarily work for every team, but it's about taking the best learnings and sharing those across the organization to see how you can bring about those change. Now, when we bring about change, it doesn't happen overnight. You won't break down walls and barriers, but it's about sprinkling influence and bringing, as I mentioned, bringing people on that journey. And ultimately connect it back to the business's vision and their objectives. The other thing that's really important to understand too is what each team member does, what role they play within that team or that pod or tribe, and understand what they're responsible for. And by having a team effort, it also brings about the ownership that they have by saying, I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z. Everyone is aware of that. The other thing is understanding that department's remit. So in cross-functional teams, we're likely working with analysts, developers, product, and so forth. But understand what each of those silos have as their core objective, maybe for the year or for the quarter too. Sometimes they're not necessarily aligned within the organization. Or they're specific to that particular department. For instance, the development team, they may have a goal of reducing the time it takes for a page to load or an app to load. But someone in marketing or advertising, they may want to, they may have a partner in mind, and they want us to include that partner's code onto the sites for spend optimization or helping the ad network. well, that can actually add page speed. It increases it. So, recognizing the disconnect between these will also help everyone in the team understand their motivation or hesitation towards a particular idea or an initiative that they have brought forward to the team. So as a product manager, I'm responsible for keeping cross-functional teams together, and I use various tools to communicate initiatives and priorities. We use project management tools to communicate with our team and stakeholders. These shouldn't be foreign. They include spreadsheets, project management software, and roadmap tools. Some are free, such as Trello, and they're great for ideating, prioritizing, communicating, and sharing. So share these with your team and with the broader group. Don't keep it really to yourself, because again, that helps bring about change, that transparency, that vulnerability. That it's a work in progress. Share it and visualize it. It helps communicate what you're doing and what the team is doing. It helps with collaboration, and it really brings people on that journey. I can't emphasize that enough. And communicate it, share it electronically, talk about it at any opportunity that you have. Make it heard. So to wrap up this, there are some books that I recommend. Scaling Lean by Ash Mariah. This book is targeted for building successful products, but the case studies and systems thinking can be applied to many parts of a business. It can emphasize the importance of being customer-centric and carrying out rigorous testing methods, and ensures that you're focusing on the right thing. The one in the middle, that's Walking the Talk by Carolyn Taylor. This book covers culture and how you do measure culture to change people's behavior. It emphasizes inclusion and collaboration to achieve desired work. The last one is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, who are ex-Navy SEALs, and now they're leadership consultants. This book may not appeal to everyone, but there are interesting leadership principles which can be applied to a business setting. For example, taking responsibility for yourself. It might be to take responsibility for explaining a mission and developing certain tactics to achieve goals. It also instills how teams can feel empowered to own certain, to walk the talk, own things and see things through. So yeah, there are 3 books I recommend reading or listening. My time is up. Thank you for having me. Thanks to UXDX for hosting. My name is Magda Griffiths. Feel free to connect with me. Let me know what you thought via LinkedIn or Twitter. My handles are in the slide deck below. Thank you.